Hi, and welcome to Coach's Corner, where systems matter and both personal and professional learning and development is beneficial for everyone and essential for some. As always, please like, subscribe, comment, share, and hit the notification bell. Let's get started.
How much money do you need to start a business?
Zero, right? I mean, if you have a service business, go knock on the door and go, hey, I'll clean your house for $20,
Yeah.
right? And you don't need anything, right? You can clean it with your hand. It may not be effective and good.
Yeah.
So you may need, $10 to go get some cleaner and but most of them will let you borrow theirs.
Right.
My wife does. I know that's for sure, right?
Yeah.
And so, you have your own towels, your own cleaning products, your own mop, So you can do that. Or, hey, I'm going to, pick weeds out of your grass. You don't need any tools. I mean, it helps if you have tools, just like it helps if you have systems. You don't have to have systems to do things. You're just going to be slow.
Right.
And I'm going to kick your butt every time and twice on Sunday, right? So to me, you don't have to have any money to start, but that's what we think, which is that whole mindset piece. Ready?
Yeah.
We never even get to ready, set, go, or ready, aim, fire on your marks. We don't even get past that.
Right.
Because people want to, analyze.
Yeah. Right.
Right. Over, what do they say? Over analyzing stuff. It's analysis to paralysis. Right. And I'm an analytical dude.
Yeah.
But I always go out and do too.
Right.
You can be thinking about why you're doing, and it can always change. As I told you before, first day of after school programming, I got 300 parents walking through one door and 300 it was a cluster screw.
Yeah.
But by day 2, I had them in 4 different spots and everything was smooth.
Right.
So I think that a lot of times, just as a sidebar, the listeners out there, and it doesn't matter if it's entrepreneurism, business, if you're an athlete, I can go on, it doesn't matter. If you're a mom, whatever, that people don't go because they're worried that I have to be perfect.
Yeah.
Guess what, people? That ain't going to happen anyway. So you might as well think about it a little bit, get organized around it, and go do it.
Do it. Got it. Okay. It says, what choice can I go for? I'm a 19-year-old running my own business, and it is expanding now. But my parents are telling me to stop it, and I should go to a university for 5 years, yet I don't want to.
Yeah, well, respectfully, I would say parents stay out of it for a bunch of reasons. So I have a degree that took me 5 years to get. On top of that, I have 1 year to get a teaching credential. I think I actually got them all done in 5, but let's just say.
Yeah.
So there's a half a dozen years. And then on top of that, I had to get it cleared, which was another year on top of that. So I had 7 years, right? And I was helping a bunch of youth, which is what I wanted to do, my number one. But on top of that, if I look at it back for me from a financial, there wasn't a lot of money there. Right. So I went out and got a singular, I forget what they call it, like certificate or something to sell life insurance in the state of California. And I was making, if we just looked at it for self as far as money goes.
Yes.
Now for self for me, I've already talked to you about helping people.
Right.
But the second part of it is money for us, right? So if that's the case, I was making as much money here and it took me 30 days to get it versus 7. Secondarily, and I've said this many a time, and you notice how I feel about tradition. Traditions that don't make sense, let's get away from them. And so as I've said before, a 30-year mortgage for my mom and dad who were going to buy a house, stay in it for 30 years, die in it, and the whole 9 yards, that made sense. Yeah. But for the people of my era who've either moved or refinanced 15 times, the 30-year fixed mortgage did not make sense. Or we've also talked about, hey, mommy, why did they cut the back part of the ham off? I don't know. Go ask grandma. Yeah. I don't know. Go ask great grandma. Well, I don't know why those two idiots are doing it, but my pen was too short. So why are we, and that's the biggest thing that I want to get out, besides systems and hacking time, so to speak. I want to get out. Why are people doing what they're doing? Is it based off of tradition or is it based off of choice?
Right.
And I think that that's the biggest thing, like especially when we talk about business or entrepreneurism, it gives you choice, which I dig that, right? So I choose to work 15 hours a day, but I don't have to, so on and so forth. Can you ask the last, there's one more thing I want to say on that question. Parents. So, no offense to parents, but the bottom line is that, again, not just the money part of it, but obviously if you already have a business and it's successful and so on and so forth, and I could see me telling you, if it was 30 years ago, hey, I think you should go to school and get a 5-year degree or a 4-year degree. I think it made sense.
Right.
I don't think it makes sense anymore. So again, why are we doing things based off of tradition? So lovingly and kindly, please tell your parents to butt out unless you live under their roof, and then you at least have to listen to them, but you still need to go do your own thing. And again, if they don't want to listen to that, then you're under their roof and you'll need to listen and comply or go, get the stepping, right?
Mm-hmm. Right. What are disadvantages of having inventory?
Oh, geez. So as you know, we've had a thrift store before. So there's inventory and then there's inventory, meaning this. So let's say like a 7-Eleven or a Walmart.
Yeah.
Some of those shelves are stocked by the employees, but a lot of them are, if you're Coca-Cola person will come in and stock them, or Dr. Pepper or whatever.
Right.
So if you're getting other people to stock the stores, then that's, better than what I'm getting ready to tell you, right? The other part about it is that if you're getting somebody else to do it, not only is it saving you time, you're just giving them space, basically like a vendor in an antique mall. Mm-hmm. The other thing is on one of our buildings, we had 6,000 square feet. And we were running out of room. I mean, if you have inventory, the third part of inventory is you could get caught with it.
Having too much, you mean?
Yeah, I mean, I know my mom made calendars one year, and guess what? They're only good for that year. Yeah. And if you don't sell them by then, and they didn't sell them all, so they're just sitting there. It's basically just paper, so to speak.
Right.
And then can you ask me again? Because there's a second part.
What are the disadvantages of having inventory?
Yeah, so to me, that's the disadvantage. But the bigger disadvantage is that's bad enough. But in the thrift store, you have to put up all the stuff. And then if you get in something like we did before, we had it all perfectly set up. It was so beautiful. Everything was nice and neat. And some dude gets a divorce from his wife, and he had built a 1,500 square foot Coca-Cola shrine display, stuff all over the world. And he goes, I don't want any of it. I'm donated. Yep. So we were like, oh, crap. I just did that display and that whole row, 20 feet long by 10 feet high. Yeah. I've got to find a place to move all that, and now I got to move Coca-Cola. And this was happening all the time. Yeah. So it's very time intensive depending on which two of those levels that you go with.
Okay, what is important to learn in order to be a millionaire in the future?
Well, I always tell people, hey, if I give you $3 million right now, or if I give you a penny day double for the next 30 or 31 days, who wins? Right. And I'll take the $3 million. Yeah. And I don't remember what the number is, but I think like on the 30 or 31st day, it's like 5.8 million. I know we've done that before.
Yeah, it's either like 5.8 or 6.4. It's something like that.
Yeah, it's a chunk, right? Yeah. And so what I tell people is that there's all kinds of different ways to get there. Yeah. But so let's talk about the guy, and this is a true story. I think he didn't make over like $20,000 a year, and he donated $30 million.
Oh wow!
Yeah, when he died, because he just took a certain percentage of that amount of money, and it accrued over a long period of time. So we live on what we call a 60-40 rule, and so we'll spend 60% of our money on the normal whatever. Yep. And then what we'll do is we'll divide up 40% of that, and we'll go 10% to tithe. We'll go 10% to what we call an emergency fund. Your washer goes out or different things of that nature. And then we would go 10% into a long-term set it and forget it. That guy had a long-term set it and forget it and got to $30 million. And I tell people, I don't care what you start with. Right. But every time you increase, if you do it by percentages, then you just increase by then. Yeah. Well, if you're making, $20,000 this year and $200,000 next year, what's 10%? $20,000. Yeah. $20,000 over a 20, 30-year period, you're going to get to $1 million pretty quick with compound interest, right? And then the fourth one, we do what we call high return accounts. It could be the stock market, or we buy real estate, or I'm going to purchase this item for 100 and try to sell it for 200, or different things of that nature. But I think the first thing is it's a mindset, and then you got to set your plan around it. And just know that this will give you multiple ways to be able to get there. But if all else fails, take a penny and double it every day for 2 days, and you'll get there within 30 days. Or Yeah.
For 31 days.
For 31 days, yeah. I talk in Ebonics sometimes. Thank you very much.
What are the elements of a good business pitch?
So we've talked about that before, where I look at it like you're in an elevator and you're trying to get to the whatever 10th floor, 50th floor, whatever.
Yes.
And so I'll give you a bad one and a good one right off the bat, and then we'll talk about more details of it.
Yeah.
So I dry people's wet cars off. That's the pitch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody's like, woohoo, yay, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or I control millionaires and billionaires with the wave of my hand. Right? Now, which one do you want?
Right, yeah.
Yeah, no brainer. Well, guess what? It's the same person.
Yeah.
It's the person that was drying off my car.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I was at a local place. I took it in. They do their thing.
Yeah.
And, I just was thinking, I'm always thinking about whatever. I got nothing else to do. I ain't picking their weeds. So I try to maximize time hacks, whatever. And I was like, that guy's controlling me with the wave of his hand or the towel.
Yeah.
And I said, damn. It kind of bothered me a little bit, but it also made sense for a pitch. So I look at it like, hey, you're going to get on elevator on floor 1.
Yeah.
And act like you only have one floor to be able to do this.
Right.
And so you're either going to make a shock statement or ask a question that gets people to really think.
Yeah.
So when I say I control millionaires by the wave of my hand,
right.
I'm at least a floor 2.
Yeah.
You'll probably give me 2, 3, and 4 because you're still whacked out about whatever.
Right.
So I say that's floor 1, and then floors 2, 3, 4, 5. I think that's when you're, selling yourself and your own credibility. They say in sales, you sell yourself first and then whatever. And then, floors 4 through whatever, you're talking about your product or your service or whatever and how it will help. And then towards the end of that, whatever, I don't know what floor I'm on now, but 10 to 12, you're talking how it can help them, so on and so forth. And then your closing is going to be something really powerful. So I don't know if you remember McConaughey and Lincoln Lawyer or whatever. I think it was like a white hick town or something.
Yeah.
And they were doing some bad stuff to that little black girl.
Yeah.
And so he said, close your eyes. And then he went through the whole thing. And he said, now imagine she's white.
Right.
Whoa. Right. That's a close. You know what I'm saying? And that turned this hick town into where they should have been to begin with. Yeah. Right. So I think that's the big part of a sales pitch or whatever. Just look like you're going up an elevator.
Yeah.
The last thing I'll say is this, though. And so we had a program that was a national program. And we forgot this every doggone year when we were asking for money when we were at the school district. And this served 30 adults. And then it wound up serving hundreds of kids.
Okay.
But anyway, we forgot, so we were talking about the kids and we're going to help the kids. But that was from our point of view.
Yeah.
And I don't mean they didn't care about the kids, but they cared about what they cared about.
Right.
So we always got re-upped every year. But by the third year, I think we finally figured out they don't want to talk about the kids. They want to talk about them and their program. So that would be the final thing I would say is yes, you're going to sell yourself. Yes, you're going to sell your service. But just remember, you're really trying to put them in a position to where they're getting what they want.
Right.
Yeah.
Got it. What issue should a business owner consider when purchasing inventory for the business?
Well, I think it's finding underpriced stuff and then making sure it sells. So as you well know in the card business, so I'll go and buy, let's say, well, it's really a hobby, but you call it a business. I'll go buy 100,000 cards, and there may be, let's say, 80% of them are commons.
Yep.
Meaning they're not worth hardly anything.
Right.
Then you have 20% that are worth some good money, maybe, and whatever. But of that 20%, maybe 18%, you can't really sell. Just because you have something that's really good and it's underpriced, and if you can't sell it, then who cares?
Right.
Yeah. So then you have the stuff that sells. So would as I've told people many a time, would you rather have, these 100 items that you're only making 10% on, but they sell like hotcakes, Or would you rather have these 100 items that you're going to make 2,000% on your money and they may or may not sell?
Right.
Do some math. So I would just make sure that you're getting the right kinds of inventory, putting it in the right spots.
Yeah.
Right? You know, so we always say we go into Walmart to buy a loaf of bread and we come out with a bicycle, a TV, a nightstand.
Yeah.
Right? Because they're putting things in strategic on what we call the end caps, or you know, especially like with me, you said the other day when we were in Walmart, you're like a little damn kid, like, because I was just looking around, there's candy and then there's this and that, right? And so, you know, people do that on purpose. They're not stupid.
Right.
So, but I would say find underpriced inventory, but make sure it's stuff that's gonna actually sell.
Yeah. Gotcha. Inexpensive business ideas that are the most successful.
Yeah. So the networking, right? It's slower, but the ratios of sales go way up. And so I learned that in the insurance and financial services business. I told you I had a guru, and that's the only method he would use.
Right.
Like if you emailed somebody or text them, or you know, I don't even know if we were DMing by then, but I don't remember if social media was around. He was like, he'd give you the evil stare, like he didn't have it.
Right.
And it made sense. So I think that, you know, that's a really good way to get something and get something quick.
Right.
If nothing else, you're buying yourself.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? If I ask you for $5, you'll tell me yes.
Right.
If I ask my neighbor for $5, he's going to tell me to take a leap.
Right.
But if I go ask my mom, my dad, my aunt, my cousin, my sister, my whatever, so no matter what I'm selling. Now, I also tell people on the reverse side of that, don't be part of the NFL club. And that's not the National Football League. That's no friends left or no family left, because you're badgering them. Because a lot of these guys, they're raccoons.
Right.
You know, raccoons chase the next shiny object. So today it's Amway, the next day it's this. Don't do that. But if you're good to people and you've been good to people historically, they'll probably want to be good back to you.
Got it. Oh, how did you turn your passion into your business?
Yeah, I'm going to put a little line here so you don't have to search through it. Well, for me, that period, right? It's all about that. If I'm not passionate about it, I won't do it. Mm-hmm. I do not care. What's one of the reasons why I got out of the financial services business? I liked it, but I didn't love it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I still do it, and I think there's a great need for it because, as we talked about, people don't do 60-40. They don't do anything but 100 or 110%, right? They spend 110% of their money called debt. But if I don't really believe in it and I don't feel like it's purposeful or I'm super passionate about it, I just won't do it to begin with. Now, that being said, I always like to go the other side. I will do some things around some stuff that I'm not really that passionate and purposeful about just to make some extra money because I want to go and, like we did, with the kids. Here's $1,000 for shoes. Here's $10,000 for new uniforms. Here's, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I'll do that, but there'll be no longevity to it. It'll be kind of a one and done or a couple and done or whatever.
Right.
The money's just not that important to me.
Got it. Gotcha.
If you need to contact Brett or Coach, please do so on his social media accounts, email, and or text. You can find that information in the description below. Again, please like, subscribe, comment, share, and hit the notification bell. Thanks, and we hope you enjoyed.
That was funny.